Everyone crowds the makeshift bandstand. The younger couples dance anywhere, squeeze forward like a cheap special effect in a 50s sci-fi flick, and demonstrate detachment like a bag of tacks, the devil's cold fingers, or saturation like smeared ink from a love letter. A couple adjusts their Monet's water lilies umbrella so they can observe their younger reflections. Beads of water falling over the tarp, the condensation rising with the recycled roots, chords, and tonics mingling among us this afternoon. And this next one's a little bit longer. It's another, I guess, jazz poem. I'm a lawyer, and I took up the saxophone for a while. Didn't do so well, but anyway, this is a poem about that. It's called Lunch Break, Berkeley, 1995, and it's for my teacher, Hal Stein. At Parker and Martin Luther King, cold water walk up. Well, actually, I'm sure he had hot water. Dilapidated fire escape in the back, black paint peeling. That part's true. I'm wearing baggy pinstripes, wide tie, a little short, loosened at the collar from the morning set, defending indigence. That's true. No pork pie hat, my horn, my sax, brand new, a cherry red case. Salesman said, "You want a museum piece or do you want to play?" Not pawned the night before after a gig, strung out on H, but purchased with my MasterCard after I dropped the kids off at a birthday party. I, now 37 years old in perfect health, begin, hoping to cease not till death. No nicotine stains, fingers pull out a pack of Wrigley's spearmint gum, unwrap a slice, and work my embouchure, a word that I've looked up in the Encyclopedia of Jazz. I knock a little too tentatively, I think. Reality was about to intrude, like honks from MLK, that train whistle down by the tracks. Hal opened up the door, just like I hoped. Graying linoleum, a chip Formica tabletop, yellow vinyl chairs, refugees from a Lower East Side dive near Tompkins Square Park, and an upright piano against the wall, straight out of Storyland, sheet music and cassette tapes. Yeah, we used cassette tapes in '95. Before I came in, he asked, "How long have you played?" As he sized me up. "Actually, never," I mumbled, having not anticipated this line of questioning. "A shit," slipped out. He said, "Teaching beginners is like breaking rocks." If there had been a soundtrack playing right then, at that moment, it would have been Willow, Weep for Me, Dexter, Our Man in Paris. I kept thinking I've got to get back to work in 50 minutes. Like a pause before the chord change, he just stared, sizing me up. Have you ever heard the blues tune, He's 37 but feels 12? Subtitled, and I'm out a grand plus or minus for a sax I'll never use. Right then, that tune was drowning out Dexter. Hal looked like Mingus about to bounce me out on my ass at a gig in Alabama, throw my sticks at the door, not because I didn't know the last call, but because I didn't know any calls. Except Hal's, white and Jewish and 75, he burned my heart. His eyes scarred it all up, as if to say, I need the money and you seem willing, but calculating too. Is this how I want to spend what little time I have left on earth? Go on, sit down. Let me take a look. He picked up the horn and rotated it in his hands. That's fine. He fit the joints in place, fastened the reed. After we were all set, he said, I had another lawyer who worked with me for 1 week. He never made a sound. There's not much more I can say at this point. Whether you press the reed tighter or looser, it's up to you now. At some point, you've just got to blow. All right, and now I've got a couple of baseball poems. I feel like I'm a Ken Burns special. But yeah, go Giants and go A's. This first one is a found poem. It was taken from a newspaper by a promising young player. And here it goes. It's called, very short, Home Run. Perfect contact, he said, almost dreamily. There's no sweeter feeling. It's a feeling in my hands that I can't explain. Something real soft. You don't feel nothing but making a good sound. And this next one's a sonnet. It's I grew up in Detroit, born in Detroit, grew up there. Love the Tigers, so I'm sort of conflicted today. They're playing the A's. But here's a poem about Tiger Stadium, 1968. Beyond the concrete steps, below the decks, between the girders, rows of wooden seats pattern, hinged, unhinged. A ball and bat connects, and hatched, cross the infield grass. The cleats of Donald Wirt are turning, glinting. Clay turns up in mounds where he has worked. The bag at third so bleached it's almost blue. Parquet cuts of lawn crowd the groundskeepers who drag the diamond. Is this the rabbit hole? Before I sit, I scan the rows of rickety green chairs, absorb this view of men at ruthless play. This place a bowl of designs at 12, but dimly perceived, a tableau to parse, a place to keep score of what ensues. And a couple of more. There's a ballot measure on the ballot right now, Prop 34, and we have the opportunity in California to end the death penalty in this state, which would be pretty amazing. So get out and vote. Anyway, this first poem is about Troy Davis. I don't know if you're familiar with that case. It got some media attention. A person who was executed in Georgia this past year. And this is another sonnet. When I heard about Troy Davis, distract myself or meditate, divide my life into impermeable zones to keep me from imagining when I'm alone what the radio reports, repeats, he died. It was a shock, as though a friend had died, as though I were waiting by the phone to hear the news I've known would come, but pretended wouldn't. I tried. A Klieg explodes, shellacks the talking head in ghastly light. A skeleton on stilts clatters. A frazzled prison guard complains to dreadlocked kids who trample on his bed of bulbs. A battle group of nuns tilt into the crowd that the barricade restrains. And here's one more short poem to conclude. Another execution. I read on a slip of paper at dinner tonight that you must empty yourself before God may enter. So I emptied myself and found the bottom of a lake bed caked with sticky mud next to a sign that said, "Do not swim." Under a covering of mulch, the reflection of the stars disappeared into the blackness. I no longer want to reconcile myself to grief. I'll sit with this thing tonight, let it crack the bowls, break the windows out. I'm weary of running away. Thank you.